What's up, everyone? Welcome to part 2 of my Mythic Legions video here, and I did want to take this time just to welcome you guys to part 2. This was a very long video that I did, and I wanted to separate it into 2 parts. This way you aren't overwhelmed with one big long video. But I also wanted to note that I will be linking all of the Kickstarter Advent of Decay links in my description box below. So if you guys have any questions about that, all the information's in the Kickstarter. You can basically just scroll through the Mythic Legions Advent of Decay. That's what it's called, and check out all of the rules and everything. Like I said, if you guys have any questions about the Kickstarter, trying to get involved or anything like that, I basically, I'm doing this video to help the Kickstarter and to point out some opinions and facts about what's going on with Mythic Legions. So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and yeah, enjoy part 2.
Okay, next segment I'm going to do really quick. I'm just going to do a bunch of size comparisons here because I know a lot of people are probably wondering, well, what are these guys, their range as far as size goes? So I'm just going to do back to back right here, or actually just do side to side right here. Okay, first up we have a SH Figuarts figure here, and as you can see there, I mean, he's a big difference in size there as far as that goes. So there's a Figuarts figure. And then next we'll just do a Marvel Legend. There's Black Suited Spider-Man. There you go. So bigger than Figuarts and Marvel Legends. Next we have a WWE figure, and a little bit more in scale with WWE figures. That's Big Boss Man, in case you didn't know. Big Boss Man. And then we have a DC superheroes figure, which is pretty much the on par with DC UC figures. So there you go with that. And then next we'll do a NECA figure. We'll do Dutch. I'll just bring in Dutch here. And they are in scale as well with NECA figures, so I'd say they're probably in really pretty good, decent scale with NECA figures. And lastly, I mean, we can't do a Mythic Legions video without doing a comparison with Motu, so there we go with that. And these two almost look like brothers. So there's your size comparisons. Okay, and there we have everyone together. So there's your last size comparison. Okay, so as far as articulation does go, I'm just going to show you on both are here. And the articulated horns on the head are pretty awesome. You can put them pretty much anywhere you want if you want to have them backwards. You could do that. That's a different look. You can have them up if you want that. Then you can have them facing forward if you so choose. However you want. This is actually the design of the character. It does have the horns forward, going forward like so. The head can swivel side to side. You're pretty much getting a swivel. Now you can't swivel at the head, holding the neck joint, but you can also swivel with the neck joint as well, which is a separate piece that's attached here. As you can see, it's moving, but if you hold the neck joint, you can also move with his head. His head can tilt side to side, and it does look up about that far, down about that far. Some have a different type of range of motion, like Malleus obviously is going to have probably the best range of motion. I would say as far as range of motion goes, the one with the worst is probably Atlas the Conqueror and Asteron the Minotaur over there. Just due to the bulk and size of his head, and then the bulk and size of his head sculpt as far as Atlas goes over there. But the arms can go up about that far. They go down, full 360 rotation in the arm. He does have a single bend at the elbow and a swivel at the elbow. Swivel at the wrist and a hinge at the wrist, which goes in and a little bit out. Not too far out though. And then we do have a swivel at the gauntlet as well. We do have a diaphragm joint, which is a ball peg. It can lean forward and lean back a little bit, not too much, but it does get the range of motion that you need. You can also pivot side to side. And then we have the T-jointed hips, which are absolutely fantastic with the leg range of motion. Great job there by the Four Horsemen there for that. Legs go forward. We do have a upper thigh swivel on some of these guys. We do. I believe on Vitus, Asteron, Atlas, Gorgo, and Sir Gideon's Heaven's Brand, they all have leg swivels at the thigh. But for some reason, the dwarves don't. Also, the skeletons don't have a swivel at the thigh either. But they do actually... Oh, no, wait, I take that back. I'm sorry. Only the skeletons don't have a thigh swivel. And I think that was due to breaking up of the sculpt. But he actually does have a thigh swivel, but it's a little bit lower, kind of closer to the knee right here. So there's your thigh swivel. It's just in a different spot from these guys right here. He does have a single jointed knee, but good range of motion in the single jointed knee. And then we do have an ankle hinge here. And I mean a deep ankle pivot. Look at the size. Look at that. Look at the size. Look at that ankle pivot range of motion. It's friggin' awesome. And you can really, I mean, get this guy to do the splits if you need him to. Look at that. That is absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. But that's both ours articulation. And it's pretty much the same, like I said, with a little bit of differences here and there. But as far as range of motion goes, it can vary. Like I said, with the two skeletons over there, with the thigh swivel, but pretty much everything else is around the same. The head range of motion is going to be different due to the sculpt of beards and helmets and stuff like that. But I mean, for the most part, that's your articulation there. It's pretty decently done. So I don't really have any issues with articulation. Some of the range of motion could be better. I would have kind of preferred if these guys did have double jointed elbows. Even if these were single jointed elbows or knees and elbows, I would have preferred if they got a double jointed range of motion. As long as it gets that range of motion, I don't really care. It doesn't bother me, but it would have been nicer to see a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Not nitpicking too much here, but a little bit more. Now, the biggest con for me on these guys is the availability. And that's, I think, one of the last things I want to touch on here before I let you all go, because I don't want to go on too long. It's availability. And the availability is really tough because this is a Kickstarter. These are also sought after by collectors that collect these, that are diehards, that really, really, this is like one of the only things that they collect. A lot of people put a lot of money. I've seen people put $5,000 or $6,000 into this line. So, all in one Kickstarter pledge. So, there's a lot of diehards that are into these. The availability is tough. If you don't get it on a Kickstarter and you miss out, you're down to either shopping on Big Bad Toy Store, which is a little bit of a markup. I think these guys on the Kickstarter are $33. They're $50 on Big Bad Toy Store, depending on if you get the Barbarian Builder Kit or the Knight Builder Kit. Those run around $70. They do include extra accessories and stuff like that, different pauldrons and heads and stuff like that. So they run a little bit more. Now in the Kickstarter, those builder kits run for around $40. 40 to 45, I think, something like that. But maybe, I think it might, no, they run 50. I'm sorry, 50. So it's about a $20 markup on Big Bad Toy Store. If you go on eBay, it's a significant markup. Like I said, the Barbarian Builder Kits, they go from being 50 on the Kickstarter, and then they're 70 on Big Bad Toy Store. On eBay, they're over $100. So there's a huge price gap difference here between scalpers, between secondary e-tailers, and then the Kickstarter, which is where you want to get all of your Mythic Legions from. So what you're probably telling yourself at this point is, if you made it this far, you're probably telling yourself, well, why don't I just buy them off storehorseman.com, which you can. Try, at least. They never have anything up because as soon as they put stuff up, they sell out. And then they don't replenish their stock enough. And that's been the ongoing complaint with these guys, is that they don't replenish their stock enough. And it's been a huge complaint with diehard collectors, with new collectors trying to get into this line. And I think that's the biggest gripe that I have, is there's no availability for these guys. And it's really frustrating seeing as, you know, for the most part, I mean, some of these guys in here, like I would say Sir Gideon's Heavens brand, Gorgo, and Atlas and Vitus are some of my favorite figures in my collection, period, that I have. I mean, I'm not going to put them up there with, you know, my my high-end, really high-end figures like my Sideshow Collectibles or some of my Figure Arts, because my Figure Arts, I think, still beat these guys out. But I'd put them right next to that. I really would, because I love the style of these figures. I love the mythos, the story that they're starting to build behind these guys. But the problem is that they're just not available enough, and it's the secondary market's killing him.
One other major gripe I wanted to point out that I had was the paint applications. As you would articulate your figure, start moving it around, as you can see the joints right here in between the knee, there's paint in there, and it actually started rubbing off, as you can see in this picture with Malleus right here. These are not, that's not plastic, it's actually painted on plastic in the joint for the arm, and as you start bending those arms and knees, the paint would actually start rubbing and cracking off. So I mean, that's a quality control issue, and here we have Vitus with his arm, and even you can see the outside portion of his arm where his forearm is. The paint is starting to scrape and rub off. That's another big gripe that I had, was some of the quality control issues with the paint applications. It's just not as far as quality would go for a $30 figure, and if you buy it on secondary markets, it's going to be higher. I mean, there should be better quality there with the paint. As you can see, there's the inside of the knee joint, and the paint starting to chip and flake off. It does show, and you do notice it, and that's been an ongoing gripe with them. Okay, so as far as my pros go, there's a lot more to say, I think, pro-wise, than I have to say about negativity. These guys are fantastic. They're obviously, I mean, as you can see, they're beautiful looking figures. They're going to look great on your shelf, whether you just want to have them standing in neutral poses like I have here, or whether you have them, you know, battling outside in a beautiful outdoor display. Anything you want to do with these guys, you can pretty much use your imagination and apply, copy and paste, apply that. And I really dig that about these figures. I dig that there's also a comic coming out, and it's only the first comic of many to come out, which is fantastic. I love the backstory, and I also love that you're given the option to really build your own mythos, so to speak, with these action figures. I really do appreciate that, and I do appreciate and commend, excuse me, the Four Horsemen for giving us these options, especially with the modularity of the figures, being able to create your own character if you want to. That's something that we're really not given with a lot of the other action figure lines, which is absolutely fantastic. The other thing is the articulation's pretty good. Besides the non-double jointed elbows, that's something I would like to see maybe in the future if it does occur. We'll see how the Kickstarters go or how their business model goes in the future. But the amount of attention to detail with the paint is fantastic. The articulation is fantastic. Look at the amount of detail just in Malleus's face right there. It's just beautiful. You can see all the cracks and crevices in his head. I love the paint shading, the paint detail going throughout each body is a little bit different per character. So that's something to really note, is that we don't see that a lot with a lot of other action figures. And granted, these guys are warranted a little bit more of a higher price, but they're also a specialty item at that same token. So you kind of have to understand that as well. Um, I love the soft goods. Soft goods are something fantastic that come with these figures, and that's another thing I can appreciate. The amount of detail on the rivets on the armor, the amount of detail on each weapon kind of matches their character. I really dig that as well, and there's just a lot more pros than cons, I think, with these figures, and that's what I'm coming to in a conclusion for my pros, is that each one pops to me, and I love that. And yeah, I would suggest you try and pick at least one of these guys up.
I mean, if you're into sword and sandals type fantasy stuff, then go out and get some. But I would highly suggest that you join the Kickstarter, the 2.0, and I believe actually they're going to have a pre-order sale later on this year, just after this Kickstarter ends, with Mythic Legions, the first wave, the second wave, and the third wave. And they also have these huge, and I mean they're absolutely humongous trolls that they have. I think there's a stone troll and a forest troll that they have for that they're going to put back up for pre-order, which is pretty good. And they run around $100 a piece, those trolls. You're probably like, whoa, $100 a piece, holy shit. But they are very large. They're rotocasts, which is, I think, better. Which a rotocast is basically just like a rubbery type plastic material, so it's a little bit more durable. I have seen reviews on the figure, so you can definitely check that out. There's other people that upload them. I don't have any of the trolls, but I'd like to get at least one troll. So I have seen some of the joints on the trolls, just to finish up on the trolls here. Sorry for the weird pause right there, but the shoulder joints and the leg joints are all, they kind of click into place so they can hold their weight up. They're not loose and wobbly and can't hold like this big, I think they come with like a big mace. They come with one comes with a mace and one comes with like a stone hatchet or something like that, but those are pretty cool, so those will be back up for pre-order sometime. Make sure that you follow the updates on the Mythic Legions forum. If you don't like being on forums, you can check out their Kickstarter. They always post updates on there. You can always go on their Mythic Legions Facebook page. They always post updates on there as well. And there's the Facebook Mythic Legions Collectors fan page, where you can go on there and check for updates as well. So there's a plethora of ways for you guys to figure things out. If you guys have any more questions, let me know in the comments below about these guys. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have, or girls. I mean, if you guys really want to see individual reviews, let me know. I mean, if I see enough people saying, yeah, give us individual reviews, then I'll do them. But for the most part, I just kind of wanted to do an overview here, an extended video overview. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. If you stayed this long, you guys are absolute beasts at this point. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you can. And yeah. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.